What's up guys, my name is JDCook5 and welcome back to another episode of the F1 My Team Career Mode. Today we're going to be racing at the Catalonia circuit in Spain, but before we do so we're going to run you through a few things that we normally proceed with before we get into practice sessions. We normally look at the budget, see what we can spend. As you can see, we've upgraded the marketing side of things to our facilities, and then looking at the R&D, we've applied some powertrain upgrades there also. We're going into the practice session now at Catalonia, a circuit that was really strong, and I feel like the new layout has kind of worked for out in terms of everyone's kind of benefited from it more than anything. That other layout previous before the kind of end, before you got to the final straight, was really one of those, but just absolutely so annoying and slowed you down so much. The circuit itself is really nice. I feel like it's a circuit that I've really come accustomed to. I've actually found this circuit previously from playing in the MotoGP series, and then when I pushed on to the F1 kind of games and kind of gone from there, it was very familiar to myself. It's a circuit that is kind of very free-flowing. There's not many tight corners whatsoever. There's a lot of overtaking points. There's a lot of DRS sectors also. So I feel like it's a nice part of the kind of the calendar to be able to race on, and it's something that I feel very strong in doing so also. With that being said, practice went really well in all fairness. I felt like we was doing quite decent. Not the best of lap times that we needed to kind of get going. I just felt I needed to be comfortable with the car and the setup also. I save all of my setups like many of you probably do, and obviously I've gone with that previously. Last year we didn't do too bad in Catalonia. If you wanted to check that out, you can do so by going on my playlist. You can see every single race that we've previously done in this F1 My Team Career Mode from start to where we are currently now. So it'd be really interesting for you, if you haven't watched it previously, to be able to go on over and watch that episode. We finished 8th in the practice session. Not the best, not the worst. I feel like we kind of didn't do as much time on the soft tyre. It was more the medium that we was actually focusing on more than anything. And then we're going to be looking forward to the qualifying session. As you can see, we're sitting second as of the moment after the lap 1. Our beneficial lap was the lap 2, as you can see. Delta's not the best in terms of being in the red so far, but we do get that down with a nice free flowing bit of the track. I always find that it's nice to do at least a few laps in qualifying, even I think only when you know where you've gone wrong. If you can better that, and you can kind of get to a point where you can, once you hit that part of the track you need to do such and such, I think it works really well for it in terms of being kind of going forward, especially with your times on track more than anything. But I felt really comfortable. The qualifying wasn't the best in terms of the initial start, but once we actually really got into it, I mean, we're actually second at the moment, so it can't be that bad, but I always knew that there was that room for the other push, and as you can see on the Delta, we're matching every single time pretty much from where we previously did in the first lap. But I knew this part of the track we was really slow, and you'll see any second now with the Delta it goes up and up, and as you can see we've made up about 300 of a second. So that one error that I made in the first lap, I've actually made that up in the second, and now we're going to better our time by about 300-400 of a second. So it does make sense if you know where you've gone wrong to be able to try and make a good lap and better from the mistake also, and that has led us to pole position. So that's given us the fastest lap of the race. Unfortunately it wasn't to be though. We do actually qualify 11th, not the best, but we are looking forward to the race. I feel like I've got strong pace, and it's now time will tell once we hit the grid and see what we can do.
Welcome along everyone to sunny Spain, specifically to the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. So many great moments in Formula One history have been written at this very track over the years, including Michael Schumacher's first win for Ferrari back in '96. That win was in the rain. We might have better weather here today, but we're just as overjoyed to be at the Spanish Grand Prix. It's an updated track at Catalunya, and we welcome the removal of the chicane in the final sector, shortening lap times and reducing the total running to 2.9 miles and 14 turns. This was actually the original setup for the track, but it hasn't been used since 2007. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Sainz, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Russell, Leclerc, Hamilton, Bottas, Cook, Gasly, Albon, Stroll, Sato, Tsunoda, Drugovich, Ocon, Magnussen, Joe, Sargent, and Nick de Vries. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. And joining me again for the race today, Natalie Pinkham. Let's talk about Cook. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, they've been avoiding mistakes and have had solid pace, so it's been a good season so far. But whether they can keep that up long term remains to be seen.
Here we go then, we're in Catalonia, the sun is shining, it's a little bit overcast, but we will take it, it's not raining, it's 5 lights out, and away we go then as Valtteri Bottas is just to the side of us, as you can see Hamilton, Leclerc then, as we try and go through the little gap that there is there, they shut it off completely as we do go up into ninth momentarily. You've got Fernando Alonso just on the right hand side of us, a massive group just there, you've got George Russell, you've got Lewis Hamilton, Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris, Sergio Perez, Max Verstappen I'm pretty sure is there also, Oscar Piastri as we battle it out with Fernando Alonso going through around the corner, and Alonso is going to get the better of me, so we are going to slot into P9 momentarily then, and this is where we get things started as we see if we can make an overtake early doors and get kind of more forward to the track more than anything. But a decent start. Obviously it's very cluttered going into that first initial corner. You don't want to make too many mistakes and lead yourself in even a kind of a harder place to be. P9 is not too bad. Obviously we didn't qualify the best, so we need to kind of lower our expectation when it comes to that. But we are right behind Fernando Alonso, as you can see, and he is right behind George Russell. George Russell opting for the harder tyre. He has done well in previous races, but he's starting to drop off the pace more than anything I've noticed recently with Russell, which is very, very strange. While I'm saying that though, we do go up on the inside of Fernando Alonso, and through we go up into P8 then, making a decent start in this first lap. We are right behind George. Whether we can make an overtake on that straight, who is to be known, as we can see as we go round the bend. And as I was saying about the newer layout, if you're not too familiar with it and you haven't raced on Catalonia, that is the new layout. As you can see, Max Verstappen getting the fastest lap, so that means he is in P1. Purple sector 3 though that we made, so we are going fast, and we're going to go right past George Russell. That harder compound of tyres definitely not warmed up just as yet, and we are going to try and put ourselves into P7, and away we go. And we've got his teammate Lewis Hamilton just in front of us in P6, Carlos Sainz in 5th. That's pretty sure that's a few McLarens there also as we try and bring the battle to Lewis Hamilton. It is lap 3, bearing in mind, so we are going to get DRS on this particular straight, but so is E, so it's kind of defeats the object of anything. But we are going to take a look on the inside line as we do go up on Lewis Hamilton, pushing him out to the outside, and through we go. That's the only way sometimes that you're going to make overtakes, but it doesn't stick as of the moment. As you can see, Lewis giving everything he possibly can out of that Mercedes engine, but we are through eventually. That did give us some sort of battle, but we are through. As I say, we're up into P6 then. We're trying to get into the top 5. Lap 3 of 23 coming to an end as we push on to lap 4. As you can see, Lewis Hamilton is going to take a look though, because he is going to get DRS. Not too close to Carlos Sainz just as of yet, so I'm not going to get DRS, so we're going to use our ERS. The straights are looking really strong for us as we go late into the brakes into the corner. Hamilton needs to settle for P7 as we slot ourselves back into P6, and we now try and get some sort of rhythm going to be able to push up the pack and see what we can do in this race. We have moved up kind of quite nicely in all honesty, and we feel like we're doing fairly kind of well. P6, and then we are on lap 6 bearing in mind also, but Carlos Sainz is right there. We've stuck with the group, which is the main thing, and as you can see, it's a healthy kind of gap where we've got ourselves behind, with Lewis Hamilton 1.3 seconds, Fernando Alonso 1.4 seconds, so we're not too worried about what's behind us. It's more about what's in front of us, and as you can see, the one man that is in front of us is Carlos Sainz. He's made a decent start to this Grand Prix, currently in 5th, but we're going to try and see if we can take an overtake there. He's going to get DRS the same as myself also, so it's definitely going to be pedal to the metal as we see if we can try and take a look on the inside line, and we definitely are going to take a look. Whether we can get past is another thing, and we should be free momentarily. Whether he's going to give it another go, as I can't see in my rear view mirror. He is on the right hand side as he tries to see if he can take a look, but he has going to have to settle for P6, and we are through on Carlos Sainz then. We're past the Ferrari engine, and away we go up into P5 then. Lap 6 at 23 coming to an end as we slot ourselves into the top 5. 2 McLaren teammates of Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. I've been previously speaking about them, and I really want to snap one of them up to be able to get on the team next season, that is for sure. They're putting in some unbelievable performances in a kind of slightly worse car more than anything. Sergio Perez is getting overtaken now, and as you can see, Oscar Piastri has made his way up to P2. P2 for Oscar Piastri, the Australian, has proven to be a menace in this Grand Prix as we try and see if we can take a look at Lando Norris as the pack kind of slows down where the battle commences. Trying to see if we can take a look, but we're going to have to settle for P5 at the moment. Carlos Sainz has closed the gap between myself and him also, so there's definitely going to be in for the running as we can have a bit of DRS train. The only man not to be able to have that is Oscar Piastri. Norris, Perez and myself and Sainz will get DRS going down this particular straight. Can we shoot it up the inside? We have done it moments of times. Norris goes to the right hand side, but I am on the outside line. He has pushed me, he has squeezed me, he is there still. We're not got this just yet. We are into P4 at this moment, but Norris is right there, and this is going to be really interesting to see how it pounds out on the straight, as he is going to get DRS, but we're going to get DRS on Sergio Perez. This is happening all at once more than anything. Carlos Sainz has now overtaken Lando Norris, and Lando Norris puts himself into 6th. Sainz gets that place back into P5 then as he challenges for podiums. As you can see, Perez has kind of got a decent gap between himself and Oscar Piastri. Piastri completely going off in that McLaren machine. Hats off to the Australian, he is definitely doing a decent job. Lap 8 of 23 then, we're still in P4. So can we take a look at Sergio Perez? Of course we can have a look. The only overtaking points we've seen on this Grand Prix so far, but we couldn't execute it as well as what we wanted to do. In all honesty, we went really wide on that particular corner, not being able to kind of hold it and kind of position ourselves in a decent place where we do get past Sergio Perez. It wasn't to be, but we're going to have to settle for P4. As you can see, Sergio Perez makes the most of our mistake as he tries to get as much time forward as possible. Only 600 of a second at the moment, so we are going to get DRS as we go over the checkered line. One thing is for certain, there is no room for error whatsoever. As you can see, there's a battle behind me commencing. Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz battle it through in that corner. Norris on the inside line. I'm not too sure who got the better of him, but Sainz seems to be that he is into P5. No, Norris is now into P5. As you can see, the tyres are completely shot, not being able to have any kind of grip whatsoever, as you can see as we come to the end of lap 9. Yellow flags being waved, caution sector 1, and it has to be Oscar Piastri as smoke bellows out of the McLaren machine, and that is the end of Oscar Piastri's Grand Prix. A really unfortunate one for the Australian. He was doing so well in P2. He was completely manning the field there. Obviously he could have done even better by getting into P1, as you see Max Verstappen's gone away with it, but P2 would have been absolutely brilliant for Piastri, but it's not to be. And unfortunately the McLaren engine fails Moscow and he has to pull out of this one. A really unfortunate event, but that does work in our favour because that's up into P3. We are going to box. The softer tyre is completely shot. Can we make a difference going on the undercut? As you can see, the tyre is completely gone. Carlos Sainz is now trying to make a move. He isn't able to whatsoever though, as we try and maintain our place as we do, and we go into the pit P3 then. Everyone else charges on as we are on the undercut strategy. In all fairness, I'm trying to do it to be able to kind of overtake Sergio Perez more than anything. Whether it will work, I'm not too sure. Pit window is now open, so people will be pitting after this lap. But we do have one person, and that is George Russell. He's obviously the harder tyres does not work for him whatsoever. He switches to the medium, as you can see, and we're now pitting for the medium ourselves as we come out as an optimal stop, 2.2 seconds. Brilliant pit stop by the boys, and that is a lovely one to be done. And as you can see, we rejoin the circuit. I'm not too sure where we're going to be rejoining. Pretty sure we're at his 19th. Stroll did also pick, whether he was on the harder compound and it didn't work, who knows. As you can see, Logan Sargent in the Williams machine just in front of us then, as we try and make up the places and see if the undercut strategy worked whatsoever. We're going to get DRS on Logan Sargent going through this particular straight. We should have too much power for the Williams machine. As we switch over to the right hand side, we've got our ERS, we've got the DRS, and through we go, and we say goodbye to Logan Sargent and we say hello to P11, P10, P9 as we go past the pack. Lando Norris coming out of the pits. As you can see, he's going to slot in just behind us then as we are into P9. Nick De Vries just in front, battling it out with my teammate Esteban Ocon as they try and improve their times in this Grand Prix. They're battling it out wheel to wheel, going through the corners. Hopefully that will slow them up to be able to try and see if I can just get past them more than anything, and hopefully they don't slow me up, because I always find when you're in this sort of position and the cars that are slower kind of don't help you in any sort of way, and you actually do lose time, and I need to make up as much time as possible. Obviously I've gone for the undercut strategy. I need to make it work as we go free abreast into the particular corner. As you can see, Ocon and De Vries completely battling it out as we've gone to the right hand side, try and see if we can overtake at least one of them. One of them is going to be Esteban Ocon. As you can see, he slots in just behind me with Nick De Vries just in front. I am going to get DRS as well as Ocon is also, as we go on to the left hand side. No competition whatsoever between myself and the AlphaTauri machine, and through we go up into P7 then on lap 12 of 23. The laps are commencing really quickly, and the laps are definitely showing a kind of difference in the times and everything else, especially on the medium tyre. We are looking strong. Whether we can put a fastest lap in to gain another point, who knows. As we go over the checkered line, teammate is in the pits. Who's going to come out then as we get a purple sector 3, and we do move ourselves up into P3. Carlos Sainz is just behind us, and the one man that has come out is Sergio Perez on the medium set of tyre, as you can see, but he is right in front of me. Our tyres are nice and warm, and that's definitely making a difference as we glide past Sergio Perez. Then up into second we go. Max Verstappen 9.1 seconds in front. He's got the fastest lap also. He's completely blitzing this Catalonia Grand Prix. Not to be though for the P1, but I reckon P2 would be a decent one, that is for sure, as we complete this lap 13 of 23 coming to an end as we go on to lap 14. Sergio Perez right there. Lando Norris getting the fastest lap. He's right there also as Sergio tries to take a look on the outside line. Through he goes, and as he is going to get DRS. Can we go let onto the brakes to try and kind of do anything? back. No, we can't then, as he shuts the door on us, and through he goes. Sergio Perez back up into P2, his original position, as we fight with the car. As you can see, it was kind of drifting side to side there. Lando was trying to make a move on us as we make a slight mistake. As you can see, Sergio Perez trying to charge on now, trying to make sure that he doesn't get overtaken once again in this Grand Prix. I didn't expect the undercut to work so well, in all honesty. We definitely pushed the gap on, and hopefully we can stick with it more than anything. Lando's going to get DRS on myself, so he's going to be catching up on that particular straight as we go round this final bit before we get on the DRS sector. Are we going to make any time, as we do lose a little bit on the camera? As you can see, Sergio Perez going off in the distance. We are going to get DRS, and we are going to use as much ERS as possible to try and gain any sort of time on the Mexican. This is going to be really interesting to see on that final straight, as it is a long straight. Anything can happen. Caution sector 3, and Lando Norris has spun out of the Catalunya Grand Prix. A really unlikely event. As you can see, he was right behind me. He was challenging for third more than anything. As you can see, he goes round the bend. I can only think he just spins more than anything. Yes, he does. No one near him. No collision to be made whatsoever. A complete error from Lando Norris, and that was pretty much goodbye to his Grand Prix, because he'll probably join the pack at the end of the grid, and that will just be it. And as you can see, Fernando Alonso is in 4th, then 1.8 seconds gap. Sergio Perez is beating his teammates' time. As you can see, he's getting the fastest lap, but we've also done a decent time on the straight as we try and close the gap, and we definitely do that. We're not able to make any sort of overtake just yet, as he does shut the door on us once again, but we are in the vicinity to be able to try and take an overtake in the next few laps, that is for sure. Whether that will happen, who knows, as Sergio Perez looks a decent race pace, that is for sure. He's looking fast in this Grand Prix, trying to make a difference and try and see if he can hold that P2 to make it a 1-2 for Red Bull. Max Verstappen would be a really, really good result for him. He's had a really, really poor season more than anything. An unlikely one from the world champion, as it would be his first win of the season, may I say also. So we've actually got our win before Max, if that's anything to go by. As we try and see if we can take a look on Sergio now. As I said, it would be a couple of laps until we do so. Lap 16 of 23, through we go on Sergio Perez. We get a decent bit of speed on the straight. We use our DRS, we use our ERS, and through we go. But there's no saying that the battle is finished yet, as he is right behind me. He's going to take a look on this particular corner. Can he make a move as he goes up on the inside line? Just shut the door on him more than anything as we try and push him out of the position. Back into second we go then, as Sergio Perez tries his luck, and we are definitely going to be battling it for sure, and we're going to be defending for our lives as we go down the hill then, as we go round the corkscrew kind of bit of the track, and we are going to be going to the DRS sector. Hopefully we don't lose too much time as we go really kind of tidy through that bit. Obviously we were hitting the camber sometimes, losing a few hundredths of a second going through there. Got the DRS on for Sergio Perez, then can he make a move on myself? It's only about 200ths of a second at the moment, as we got the outside lining. We just cruise onto the inside, just closing any sort of gap whatsoever. We go a tiny bit wide, but we hold it in our own, and we are still in P2 then, as we come to an end of lap 16 of 23. And I must say, this has been a very exciting Grand Prix, that is for sure. Catalunya bringing the best out of me for sure. We've had a crash from Lando Norris, we've had Oscar Piastri go out. The two McLaren machines haven't even going to be able to get points in this race from being second and third. That is unbelievable, but Sergio Perez is definitely going to make his mark as he goes on the left hand side. He's got the inside line, and through he goes. Once again, the Red Bull machine much stronger on the straight once he gets the RS, and he completely blitzes past me. And in all honesty, after that, I just could not do a thing. Lap 23 of 23 then, we've got no one really behind me, 2.6 second gap, and this should be the end for us more than anything, as we still got another lap to go, but this should be pretty much it more than anything. I can't see us making any sort of mistake to be able to have it where Fernando Alonso gets his podium, and I feel like we can be settling for third in a decent manner more than anything. I feel like we should be really happy with this accomplishment. Obviously we weren't the fastest on practice qualifying, and even the race pace was a bit sketchy. I mean, if it wasn't for Oscar Piastri kind of crashing out with the mechanical failure, and Lando Norris kind of spinning behind us, then maybe we wouldn't even have got a podium. We would have got decent points, but we might have not just even got the podium. There was a mechanical fault with Perez's car. As you can see, we were making up the decent bit of time as we go. If that happened another lap, so say if there was another lap after this one, we'd have definitely got second, but it's what it is. In all honesty, Perez definitely deserved to be in P2. He looked so much faster, he looked really agile. Obviously he lost the pace to Oscar Piastri at the moment in time, but I felt like he would have kind of got that up even if Oscar was still in this race today. Max Verstappen is your race winner then, as he crosses the line in first, and as you can see, we're going around the final corner as we smash into the brake barriers. Didn't want to do that one, as a checkered flag is being waved in Spain, and we are on the podium. We are third, and that is a lovely one to take home, and another one to kind of build on more than anything also. Third place is very good accomplishment, and you can't complain whatsoever. Something that we're very happy with, and we're also happy with driver of the day. As you can see, Max is limbering up to take his trophy, but we are going to be getting a trophy of our own as we clap. And you can see it was just a really, really good Grand Prix more than anything. I'm really happy with that, with third. Not many people would be. Normally everyone just wants to go for the win, but the way the car is and the way that we've been developing as a team and so on, I feel like we can really accept that and move on. As the trophies are being waved in the air then, and everyone claps, the champagne is being sprayed in Spain, and may the party last forever, that is for sure. Hopefully we can build on this and build on many, many podiums to come and share the podiums with many greats just like Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez then. As we look to the standings, as you can see, going on to the final lot, and you can see Esteban Ocon not having the best, 19th. He's just not really there whatsoever. I mean, the car can definitely perform. That's the thing, and he just can't get it out of it for whatever reason. I'm not too sure. Looking at the standings then, we are 4 points ahead. We are P1 in the standings. Wouldn't think I'd be saying that so early on, but it's only a 4-point gap. George Russell has had a really, really poor kind of few races, and that's allowed us to kind of make that step up, and we also are P4 in the constructor standings, so onwards and upwards from here, that is for sure. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please like and subscribe for more content just like this one, and don't forget to hit the notification button so you never miss a video. Cheers.